Okay, so we're going to continue. Basically, we've been talking about section 4.1 for a while. We did section 4.1 when we introduced integrals at the very beginning, or at the very end of first semester. Oh, the words don't come out right. Today we're going to talk about that plus C and when we could figure out what that plus C value is. And then starting tomorrow, we'll look at some techniques on when we don't have a basic rule, what are some ways we can get to an antiderivative, okay? When rewriting it won't work, okay? So let's talk about this plus C. So what this is going to be called, we're going to be finding a particular solution. Okay. So when you see the words particular solution, that is basically asking you to find the antiderivative and identify what the plus C value is. So any function is going to have an infinite number of antiderivatives, but if we have some information about the original function, we can pick out what that specific, or in this case, particular solution is. All right? So you will be given something that looks like this. So it's going to ask you to find f of x if we know that its derivative is 4x squared and f of negative 1 is 3. Okay, so if we have the derivative, how do we get to f? We have to take the antiderivative. So our function f is going to be the antiderivative of 4x squared. Cristiano, what is the antiderivative of 4x squared? Thank you. Okay? If we don't have any other information, this is where we stop. But today, we know that f of negative 1 equals 3. So at this point, we can use that information. F of negative 1 equals 3. So we know that if we were to plug in negative 1 for x, our output should be 3. What does that mean about our C value? This ends up being negative 4/3. If we add that over to 3, what do we have? How many? Okay. So our particular solution is f of x equals 4/3 x cubed plus the C value that we found. So we're really talking about one extra step once we've get to your antiderivative, plug in the x and y to figure out the c. Okay? What do you think? Not too bad. Doesn't feel really all that like crazy, does it? Okay. So let's try this. Is this problem exactly like the first one? How many times do we get to do this one? Lots. Okay, so if we have the second derivative, then going backwards once, we would get to the first derivative, right? So g prime of x would be the antiderivative of sine of x dx. Maddie, what is the antiderivative of sine? Good. Negative cosine of x plus c. Okay. Remember, we can check ourselves. What's the derivative of negative cosine of x? Positive sine of x. Okay, if we take the derivative, we get back to what's inside that integral. Okay. All right, well, we know that g prime of x is negative cosine of x plus c, so I'm going to come back up here. We know that g prime of 0 is 1. So if we were to plug 0 in for x, then our output would be 1. What's our c value? So we know that g prime of x in this particular scenario is negative cosine of x plus 2. Well, we really want to know g of x, so we're going to have to do the antiderivative one more time. All right, so if we want g, we're going to have to take the antiderivative of negative cosine of x plus 2. Antiderivative. Autumn, what would our antiderivative be? So then, g of 0 equals 6. So when we plug in 0, our output is 6. What is c? 6. Sine of 0 is 0, 2 times 0 is 0. So g of x is negative sine of x plus 2x plus 6. try on your own. When you have an answer, check it with your neighbor. And then we'll move to our competition stage for today. Okay, find the f of x. Check with your neighbor. Sean, what'd you get? This is Sean's answer. Yeah? All right. Awesome. Okay. Ready for some little friendly competition here? All right. Everybody needs a partner. So partner up within your pods. Christiana, how about you hop over here in pod 3? And then pod 2, you for your champion. Okay? So you and your partner need a different color of writing utensil. So if one of you has a pencil, the other one has a pen. Or if like one has a blue pen, the other one has a red pen, or something like that. You need to be able to differentiate the handwriting.
You're gonna leave. I don't know what it is. Oh, that thing we do in Spanish. Like when I played Spanish 3 last year, I'm like,
okay. So every once in a while, it's good to put a little pressure on yourself. Okay. It's also good for those times where you put pressure on yourself, like in hesitation moments. All right. Okay, listen to the directions, please. There are a list of 20 integrals on here. Okay. So first of all, you're going to decide who goes first by each rolling the die and whoever rolls the highest number. So do that now. No. So you got partner against partner.
yay!
No, so what will happen
Huh?
All right. Everyone know who's going first? Okay. Let's see. Rebecca, pick your favorite number between 1 and 6. 5. Okay. Whoever is going first will begin answering whichever questions. It doesn't have to be in order. Maybe one stands out to them, so you want to answer it. The other person's going to roll the die. As soon as they roll a 5, you switch. Okay? When you are not answering the questions, you're trying to roll that die as fast as you can to get a 5. Okay? Once you hit that 5, you switch. Basically, you are trying to get the most correct on the piece of paper in the time I give you. Okay? Okay? Right now, preliminary, I'm going to say 10 minutes, but we may be able to shorten that. I don't know. Okay? So I'm going to give these to you upside down. So, with my husband's family, we do like the saran wrap ball challenge. So, like we play it to where like you have to roll doubles. It's the same chance that you got to roll 2 dice, and if you roll doubles, then you pass the ball. It goes through. And we have like gloves. Okay, assume your positions. On your marks. Get set. Go. All right.
Wait, what? I've rolled 6 4 times in a row. 5. Oh no, I messed up. No, you missed it. I'm changing it. Wait, 5. Oh, no. 5.